New Year's resolutions, they're such a fascinating topic, right? Every year we set these bold goals, but 91% of them just, fall through.
Yep, it's like inevitably, even with all the best intentions, we end up back at square one.
Exactly. And what really blows my mind is that it's not really about willpower alone. It's more about how our subconscious mind, which drives 95% of our behavior, is in control.
Right, so even though we're consciously setting goals, our subconscious is basically running the show.
Yeah, it's like our brains save energy by using mental shortcuts, and these shortcuts can be really helpful sometimes, but they can also be our biggest enemy when it comes to changing our habits.
I get that. So, in a way, resolutions fail because our deeply ingrained habits and environment are preventing us from making any real change, right?
Exactly. And one of the key tips is to design your environment to actually support your goals. It's like if you're trying to, say, read more, you can, make the alternative, binge watching TV,
Yep.
less accessible.
That totally makes sense. Like if you hide the remote or, move the TV, you're making it almost automatic for the book to win over the shows.
Right. It's like you have to make the positive choice so easy that you literally can't help but choose it. It's about turning the scales in favor of the good stuff.
I mean, it's a smart trick. But how do you ensure that, the environmental tweaks have a lasting impact? Sometimes, even with a well-designed space, we still fall back into old habits.
Great point. And that's where being specific and starting small comes into play. Instead of, saying, I'm going to overhaul my entire lifestyle, you say something like, I'm going to lose 6 pounds in January, or, I will have a healthy dinner twice a week.
So by breaking it down, you're not overwhelming yourself, and it's all, more manageable.
Exactly. And it even cuts out the mental clutter. Instead of a vague goal, you've got a clear, structured plan. Plus, when you set the goal so that the positive action is the path of least resistance, your subconscious happily goes along with it.
Yeah, that aligns perfectly with how our brain works automatically, right? It's like, it just takes the easiest route available.
Exactly. And then there's that tip about really getting into the why behind your resolution. Ask yourself, why do I really want to do this? Is it because of external pressures, or because it aligns with who you truly are?
Yep. And I guess in doing that, you're ensuring the goal isn't just a fleeting idea, but something that resonates deep inside.
Right, and that kind of deep intrinsic motivation is what makes a huge difference. If your resolutions come from a place of self-love and genuine desire to thrive, they stick better than if you're just trying to prove something to someone else.
I find it really interesting, though. Some might say, but doesn't that just mean being hard on yourself less? Because if you're not pushing yourself, maybe you won't actually make the hard changes?
I see your point, but I respectfully challenge that view. It's not about being less critical. It's about, reprogramming the habitual negativity. When you set goals from a place of love, you're mapping out a journey where your brain naturally prefers the positive changes rather than clinging to what's familiar.
Right. That makes sense. I think of it like tuning a radio. You adjust the frequency until you catch the station that really resonates with you, rather than static noise from old habits.
Yeah, exactly. And another big thing is to remove obstacles. So if you're trying to eat healthier, for example, you don't stock up on those tasty but unhealthy snacks. Instead, you fill your pantry with choices that automatically lead you toward better decisions.
It's all about what's right in front of you. The easier option is what you'll likely do because your brain simply goes for the path of least resistance.
Precisely. And honestly, when you think about it, it really revamps the way you approach goal setting. It turns the process into something that's almost self-empowering rather than battling against yourself all the time.
I love that idea. Empowerment through structured, manageable steps and reshaping your environment. It's both psychological and super practical.
Totally. And then there's the element of genuine self-care. Often we start the year trying to fix what we think is wrong with us. Sort of like trying to fix a leaky faucet when, maybe you should consider that the pipe is fine and you just need to clean it.
So instead of, pointing fingers at ourselves, it's about nurturing and, loving ourselves enough to make the right changes.
Exactly. It's like instead of criticizing your flaws, you approach your resolutions from a place of self-love. Not to get complacent, but to give yourself the best environment to succeed.
And that shift, from a place of self-judgment to a place of self-compassion, can really transform the journey.
Right, and it moves you toward a space where your subconscious mind doesn't fight against you, but actually supports your new habits because they align with your heart.
So, in essence, the keys to achieving New Year's resolutions are redesigning your environment, setting small and specific goals, and truly understanding your deep why, backed by self-love.
Exactly. It's a trifecta, plus the understanding that most of our behavior is driven by automatic processes. If you build a system where those processes work for you rather than against you, you're set up for success.
I'm curious, though. How do you think someone can begin, rewiring those deep-seated habits that have been in place for, years?
Oh, great question. It starts with awareness, right? Being mindful of when you reach for that old habit and then, almost gently, nudging yourself to do something different. Sometimes it's as simple as turning off the TV or putting away the phone.
Right. And then reinforcing those new habits over time until they eventually become as automatic as the old ones.
Exactly. It's a gradual process. It might take a little journaling or setting reminders, but over time you start to see, concrete changes. And that, in itself, fuels further change.
I love that ripple effect. Small wins lead to bigger wins. But isn't it also a bit of trial and error? Not every strategy works for everyone.
Absolutely, and that's important to note. There's no one-size-fits-all. What works for one might not work for another. It's all about experimenting with your environment, your triggers, and then doubling down on what seems to work best for you.
That's a fair point. We sometimes oversimplify by saying, just do this, when, in fact, people need to test out different methods.
Definitely. And while the overall strategy is about aligning with your subconscious shortcuts, you still need that personal experimentation. In time, you'll find that path that not only suits your goals, but also feels natural.
It really encourages a sense of self-empowerment because you're actively participating in reshaping your own story instead of just, hoping the New Year miracles will happen.
Exactly. And that's a wonderful mindset shift from a self-critical fix-me stance to one of self-nurturance and, empowerment. It not only makes your goals attainable, but also enriches your overall well-being.
And when you think about it, this isn't just about resolutions. It's about, in every moment, creating a space where you can thrive.
Right. It permeates every aspect of life, from eating habits and exercise to relationships and even personal growth. Ultimately, it's about designing your life in a way that honors both who you are and who you want to be.
I really appreciate how this approach takes a holistic view, blending the practical with the psychological. It's a reminder that change is as much about our mental landscape as it is about, external actions.
Exactly. And with that perspective, we're not just chasing after an ideal version of ourselves. We're actively curating a life that nurtures, supports, and celebrates our growth every single day.
So, for anyone tuning in, the takeaway seems to be, start small, adjust your environment, truly dig into the core reason behind your goals, and set them from a place of love.
Yep, and don't get discouraged if the old habits pop up. They're just, signals that it's time to adjust your approach or be a bit more gentle with yourself.
Absolutely. It's about progress, not perfection, and each small victory is a step toward a more fulfilling life.
Right? Exactly. And if you ever feel stuck or overwhelmed, remember that it's okay to reassess and recalibrate. The process itself is a journey of self-empowerment and self-care.
I love that. It's like, we're not just setting resolutions for January, but cultivating habits that last a lifetime.
Yes, indeed. And as we move into the new year, it's all about embracing that journey with a sense of curiosity and gratitude. Thanks for this great exchange.
Absolutely. Here's to making every resolution a step toward a more empowered and loving life.